So, here for day 78, and I actually wanted to talk about something really important today because my client just mentioned me in her stories talking about our journey together and the work we have been working on together, and I just grabbed snippets of it because she was doing her makeup all at the same time, so I just wanted to get the key points. But there is something important that I do want to mention here to explain a little bit the reason why she hired me, but then how that is shifting every other aspect of her life. And so my client Courtney, she hired me because she struggles with overeating, and because I have offered I offer inner child healing, and I do more the inner work versus the concrete logical kind of step-by-step work. I know I'm kind of a little bit all over the place in getting my words out, but it's because the reason why I suggested to Courtney to look into this kind of work versus any fixing method, putting that in quotations, but any other logical way to deal with overeating is because when there are things like addiction, such as eating cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, sex is one, or any other thing, whether it could be playing games, video games, playing games on your phone. It could be also watching TV shows. When I talk about addiction in that sense is when you are reaching outside of yourself for something to turn off the emotions, for something to not feel what you are currently feeling. And so because it is easier to not deal with our own shit and to play a game on our phone, it is easier to not feel sad and take that joint and numb out. And so this is where one area where addiction comes from is the fact that you haven't been processing your emotions, and you haven't truly sat in with the wounds, with what happened to you in your life up until now. And sometimes in the traumatic experiences or that have happened from a young age, even throughout your teens and your 20s and 30s and so on, however old you are when you're watching this, if the emotions at that time haven't fully been dealt with properly, they've been pushed under the rug, it eventually builds up. And this is what happens. It builds up through time, and at the end of it, you have this addictive behavior towards other things outside of yourself, and you may not be consciously aware of it, but those emotions are already sitting within you. And if you haven't sat with them and also really tapped into giving love to yourself, then you're just always going to keep reaching for something outside of you, whether that is the instant gratification of social media, whether that is the instant gratification of shopping, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, food, all those things. When you are overdoing it, or when you're doing it for the reason to numb out, it's because you're not looking within. You're not looking within your own emotions. So obviously, I'm not a psychologist, a therapist, or any of that. But this is my experience, also my personal experience when it comes to addiction. And case in point, working with my client who is an emotional eater and tends to overeat, and now we are tapping into the inner child healing, the shadow work, even looking at her human design and incorporating that, and really looking into the past of situations that had happened that she hasn't fully processed the emotions of it, and begin the process of healing all of that and honoring those emotions and feeling the feelings that do come up. And case in point with the stories that I've shared, like that she shared, is that the work works. It works because she is noticing that not only it's her eating behavior has shifted, but it is also affecting every other parts of her life, every other areas. She's even like manifesting quicker. Like she created this invitation of brands she wants to work with, and like one of them already reached out to her. Like how amazing and how crazy. And so this is why I do what I do, is because I desire for my clients to live the life they have, because I desire for them to have, like, to feel good about themselves, to feel good of who they are. Because I know that the work works because I've done it myself and I've seen my life shift crazily. Like, I'll tell you this. I haven't shared this much on here. And maybe this is something that I will be diving into more and more, just because this is also proof that the work works. So I was a cigarette smoker for a very long time, basically 17 years. And when I'm saying a smoker, I mean a smoker. Like, it's not like, oh, like that one cigarette a day every now and then. Like, no, I was a full-blown smoker. There's some of you on here that already like know that about me. And for the longest time, I struggled to quit. I didn't want to. And then when I did want to, like, I just couldn't. The addiction was real. It really was. And so when I was like living in Whistler, I started doing the inner work. I started doing the inner healing. I started really going into my inner child and tapping into that, tapping into my wounds, tapping into like feeling all the feels, like, you know, really going in on the self-love. And then last February, I read Alan Carr's book. And that book is like a stop smoking book, and it's all about mindset. And at the end of that book, I quit like that, cold turkey. And I still haven't bought in a pack. Like, yeah, okay, I've smoked a cigarette here or there, but it's been over a year and I'm doing pretty damn good from being a full-time smoker for 17 years. And that's because I did the inner work beforehand, and because I now fill my own cup for myself and honor my emotions and sit with my emotions, rather than reaching for that cigarette to satisfy something that is missing within me. And for me to just quit like that, without, like, yes, did the craving show up in the beginning? Of course, but this is what the book, the book explained how to deal with those cravings. But because the book was based on mindset, that's huge. And this book has helped so many other people quit. So the book is based on mindset. I was already like doing the inner work with inner child healing and shadow work. And so it goes to show you that sometimes, like, I'm not aware very much about like the 12-step process or anything, but when it comes to it, like any form of addiction, the inner work is essential. It is so powerful. It is like the foundation of an addiction. Then there is like how to deal with the cravings, and then obviously the withdrawal symptoms, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's like a little bit more of a different ball game, right? Depending on what the addiction is. But when you're looking at the core, it's the inner healing, it's the shadow work. And we've been taught by society to ignore our emotions. We've been taught by society to fake it till you make it. We've been taught by society to put it all away, to not bring your shit from home at work, like to pretend that everything is okay, and to come on here in social media and have a beautiful, beautiful Instagram feed and showing yourself traveling and like, oh, look, life is amazing, da da da. But what we haven't been taught is like how to actually deal with our emotions, how to actually sit and honor these emotions, the low and the high, because that is what is important. And that when life does go to shit, to honor that there's a lesson, that there's something to learn in there. And to look at it from a different perspective, but to actually also sit in the shits as you are feeling the shits. And as sucky as it is life-changing. Because we're always grasping for something outside of ourselves because we can't give it ourselves. And what does that say? So, I wanted to share this between my experience and my client's experience when it comes to reaching like for something outside of yourself. And just take a moment and think of like what you do. Is there anything where you reach outside of yourself, whether it is going on social media and scrolling endlessly, or whether it's playing that game to, numb yourself out, or when something goes to shit, like how do you react? What do you do? Do you say, hey, I've had a shit day, like let me go drink that full bottle of wine? And it's okay if you do it from time to time, but it's just noticing the patterns and noticing the behaviors of what happens when things go bad. I know when things went bad, I smoked way more cigarettes than I did when things were good. I also know when things go bad is that sometimes I shut off and I endlessly play a stupid game on my phone. And I don't sit with my emotions. I've done it. And sometimes I do it every now and then, and that's okay. It means to be human. But it is noticing the pattern and not to always do it, and to sometimes sit there and honor those emotions. And so this is like a much heavier topic that I spoke about today, but if there is something that resonated in this video, please like, share, comment. If there's something that clicked for you, like send me a DM, like let's chat. I want to have more open conversations about this because it is something that is important, especially in today's day and age where like everybody's doing so much inner healing, and it's like, let's continue this. Let's let this ripple out because this is powerful work. And if you desire to live a life where you feel so good about yourself, about who you are, then tap into that. And this is also the work I do on myself, the work I do with my clients. So if there is something in here that you're like, Julie, I want to work with you on this, send me a DM. Let's chat. Let's see what we can do, what we can create together, how we can work together. And so that is basically today's live that I want to talk about, day 78. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you tomorrow.